Hi, and welcome to our first virtual financial classroom. It's really interesting to me that when you look at some of our greatest athletes, they have a lot of things that they share in common. First of all, they have a next level commitment and dedication to the details of their sport. The great ones, they never settle. They always maintain a strong commitment to self-improving or trying to make themselves better at what they do. Another area that great athletes share is that when their game gets off track, they often turn to their personal coach or their trusted person that they most rely on and say, help me evaluate what's gone off with my game. What do I need to change? And maybe when they go through that, they often have to go back to the basics and they focus on the fundamentals to better determine what small tweaks they may need to make or changes in those fundamentals that they may need to do to get themselves back on track. Your finances, they're really no different. It shouldn't matter if you've been doing this for a very, very long time or if you're just getting started. Making sure that the fundamentals are sound is important, and sometimes we need to also go back to the basics and make sure we're doing the fundamentals right. So that's where we're going to start with our very first virtual financial classroom workshop. It's called Back to Basics. We're going to revisit the basic financial lessons that are important to remember but also very easy to forget. These simple, time-tested tips are going to provide the tools and information you need to pursue your financial goals no matter your age, your income, or your net worth. The presentation will have 12 tips that you should probably begin and focus on. And although we will go through all of them right now during the workshop, you might consider assigning one of them to each month and really spend some time focusing on those fundamentals for that particular month. Then while you're focusing on them, each month we will bring you additional topics and workshops on which you can build your personal financial game plan. But before we begin, there's just a couple of housekeeping details that I think would be important. On the left-hand side of the GoToWebinar window, there's like an eye with a little circle on it. That's the information regarding this webinar. The third icon down is the chat feature. If you're watching this as part of the live event, you can post your questions there. Now, unfortunately, for confidentiality reasons and for compliance reasons, we are restricted to replying to those chats during the presentation, but we will make sure that we will get you an answer to your question within 24 hours after the presentation. If you're watching this as a recorded event, you can email us your questions at info, that's I, N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, O, at pinnaclewealth.com, and we will also make sure that we respond to any questions that you may have. The fourth icon down looks like a piece of paper, and it's kind of folded on the corner. As an attendee, we're providing you some additional resources that you can download for your convenience. When you click on that icon, there should be a fact sheet and a free guide for your reference to really dig a little deeper into some of the tips that we're going to provide you today. It's a great resource for you now and something to refer back to over the coming years. If you're watching this as a recorded event off of our website, we'll make the resources available to you on the website, or just again, email us at info@pinnaclewealth.com, and we'll make sure you receive your complimentary resource and guide. As another value add, we're going to provide you access to our Pinnacle Wealth YouTube channel, where you can find additional short educational videos to watch, learn, and get inspired on not only this topic, but several other very important aspects of your financial game plan. If you're unable to locate those resources or you'd like more information on our channel, again, just send us an email or let us know how we can help. Let's get things started as we get back to the basics. 12 tips for improving your financial well-being, reducing debt, and increasing your net worth. Hi again, I am Kevin Engbers, founder and CEO at Pinnacle Wealth, and I'll be your host and your guide through these 12 tips. Americans, they continue to grapple with the toll of the Great Recession and what it took on family finances, especially where personal savings are concerned. Since wealth is spread unevenly, so is the effect of gains and asset values that result from stock market investments. For example, a 2014 analysis of the median household income found that the average wealth of U.S. households in an inflation-adjusted dollars dropped 36% from 2003 to 2013. The median American household, now that's the one that's doing better than about half of the households, but not doing as well as the other half, you're right in the middle, is likely well behind where they were before that financial crisis took place. But that doesn't mean you can't turn things around, because you can. Whether you're further behind than you'd like to be in terms of where you were accumulating savings or paying down debt, or you simply want to further strengthen an already solid financial foundation, these time-tested tips that we're going to cover today will provide the tools and information you need to pursue your financial goals, like I said, no matter your age, your income bracket, or your net worth. So let's start. Tip 1. You need to make sure that you maintain a budget at every stage of life. Everyone needs a budget, regardless of how much that you've accumulated. Why? Well, because budgeting provides a clear and consistent picture of your cash flow, what's coming in versus what's going out. Without it, you can't optimize savings, you can't regulate spending, pursue your personal financial goals with confidence, or seize important opportunities to grow your wealth. Budgeting doesn't have to be this tedious and complicated thing. A lot of times we think of it, and it works like a diet. We do it really good from about January 1 to 15, and then out the window it goes. But it doesn't have to be that way. Here's some tips that can help you easily establish and maintain a budget that works to help you stay on track. Try them. You might even enjoy this newfound control that you have over your finances. One of those items that regarding a budget, there's dozens of free online and mobile apps that will make budgeting portable and accessible 24/7. Many apps are going to enable you to aggregate data from different accounts, providing real-time account values. You should also review your finances and spending at least once a month, and consider ways that you can further trim expenses and increase your savings. Watch for trends that you see developing in overspending that needs to be addressed or reined in. Now, keep in mind that the one person, if you're doing this as a couple or with a partner, keep in mind that the one that's often crunching the numbers in your family worries the most about your finances. I think occasionally it makes sense for you to switch roles as a budget monitor person with your spouse or partner regularly, so that you are both on the same page with a clear understanding of and support for what you're trying to do in your shared goals. Tip number 2, evaluate your spending needs versus your wants. Unchecked spending is the leading cause of budgeting that goes awry. That's why it's important to sit down with your spouse, your partner, or other family members to determine your spending priorities. Fixed expenses like your housing, your food, clothing, utilities, and transportation, your child care and ongoing medical expenses, those need to come first. These are necessities. So then things like your entertainment, your shopping, and your hobbies, your discretionary spending, those should be prioritized and have parameters set on them to try to prevent overspending. Some little side tips: make sure that all interested parties have a fair say in prioritizing what those discretionary spending is. At least to avoid cheating or resentment. I had a couple one time who, makeup was an over expense, but gas in the boat, of course, that's a necessity. That isn't a well balanced budget, or how do you make things work? Consider spending on experiences like trips or meals or events instead of things. The newness of things wears off, but memories, they do last forever. Be sure to factor raises and inflation into your budget and spending plan over time. As your income increases, consider committing about 60% or more of any raises or bonuses to savings. Tip number 3, make sure that you engage a financial coach. Similar to a workout buddy, a financial coach is your savings buddy, helping you to keep you motivated and cheer you on when you reach your milestones. He or she can keep you focused on the future and inspire you to stay on track. They can help you take greater control of your spending and your debt management. He or she can also assist you in setting up an emergency savings account and to invest additional assets. They also can help you remain objective and ask the tough questions like, do you really need this, or do you simply want this? Tip number 4, make sure that you pay yourself first. Have you ever thought, I deserve this? at least when it comes to your spending on something outside of your budget, only to kind of regret it later? Paying yourself first is not only something you truly deserve, but a behavior that you'll never regret. That's because paying yourself first focuses you to think beyond instant gratification and strive for that delayed gratification, the fulfillment of your short and your long-term goals, which are really your true priorities in life. Make sure that savings is a prominent and permanent part of your budget. Challenge yourself to find new ways to save, however small. When you save money at the pump, put that extra money into your savings. Begin today. There's no better time than there is currently. Tip number 5, identify and prioritize your goals. It's tough to prioritize spending if you haven't taken the time to identify and prioritize your financial goals. While goals like saving for retirement, a down payment on a home, or a child's education account may immediately come to mind, a comprehensive approach to planning goes well beyond these objectives to include things that bring true purpose and true joy to your life. In fact, one of the first things that we're going to ask you about is your lifestyle, not your net worth or your portfolio holdings. Now, why do we do that? Because identifying the full range of your goals, your objectives, and putting a well-coordinated strategy in place, at least to help you pursue them, leads to a higher probability of success. When determining your goals, I'd like you to consider the following. How do you want to live today and tomorrow? What do you want to accomplish, or what do you most value in life? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, or even 20 years? Will you be retired? Will you be spending time with those that are most important to you? What will you be doing? How will you protect your lifestyle now and well into the future? How will your dependents be provided for if you're no longer there to provide for them? And finally, what is the legacy that you want to leave to the people and causes that you most treasure and most care about? We're about halfway through tip number 6. Understand why today's money is more valuable than tomorrow's. Did you know that money saved in your 20s is more valuable than the money saved in your 40s? That's because you earn investment returns on the previous investment returns due to the power of compounding. Einstein called this one of the great wonders of the world. And here's how it works. Let's say that you made a one-time investment of $7,500 in your 20s at a hypothetical annual growth rate of 7.2%. Now, based on the rule of 72, which is just a really quick way for you to see how fast your money will double, you take the number 72, you divide it by whatever you think your targeted or hypothetical rate of return would be, and that's what how long it takes for your money to double. So in this case, 72 divided by 7.2, your money should double every 10 years. So that's about how long it takes for that fixed annual rate for that to take place. The value of that 1 year of savings could potentially double every 10 years. Now, I want to take that a step further, but we're going to do that in one of our side videos or in vignettes to really take you through so you fully comprehend just how powerful time value money and compound interest is for you. Number 7, never leave money on the table. Excuse me. For many Americans, the tax code provisions governing qualified retirement plans, like traditional Roth IRAs, 401ks, 403b plans, profit-sharing plans, etc., they do provide critical benefits. However, to realize the full benefits of these plans, you have to participate in them. Employer plans like 401k and 403 plans offer the ability for you to defer from income from taxes now, and you do so in an automated savings and enjoy the power of tax deferring and compounding those dollars and earnings over time. A rule of thumb, if your employer offers matching contributions, you need to at least contribute at a rate equivalent to or higher than that matched percentage. Don't leave that money on the table. It's like, if you put away 1% and they will match that 1%, we can't have any guarantees here, but, you're kind of doubling your money right out of the gate, provided, again, the investments don't lose money as well. So don't leave that money on the table. Make sure you get it. You're entitled to it, but you have to participate. Roth IRAs also put the power of tax-deferred compounding to work for you. What's more, since Roth IRAs and Roth 401k contributions are made after tax dollars, you pay no income tax on the principal distributions on retirement. Remember, it's never too early or too late to begin saving for retirement or any stated goal. Tip number 8, diversify your financial life. Now, most people, when they think of diversification of how their assets are allocated within a given investment portfolio, like their IRA or their 401k, 403b retirement plans, however, the concept of financial diversification is much broader, and it encompasses assets that are outside of a single investment portfolio, to include real estate, non-qualified investments, and or even alternative investments. For many Americans, their home and their employer retirement plans represent the bulk of their assets. However, as we saw in 2008, a simultaneous downturn in both real estate and the financial markets spelled double trouble for many Americans, especially those that were nearing or were in retirement. That's where alternative investment classes might be able to help. Alternative investments typically have a low or a negative correlation to other asset classes over a long period. The low correlation means that when other investment classes experience a downturn, alternative investments may continue to perform well. The term alternative investments occurs and covers a range of investments that fall outside of the more traditional investment classes that are stocks, bonds, cash or cash equivalents, or even mutual funds that invest into those asset classes. By contributing an additional layer of diversification to a well-allocated portfolio, alternative investments can help manage risks in any market climate. Alternative investments historically have sought to provide investors with several potential investment advantages and may be an attractive approach for investors seeking to, one, increase diversification in their investment portfolios, manage market volatility, assess alternative sources of portfolio returns, and create a more efficient investment portfolio. Tip number 9, know your tolerance for risk versus your appetite for risk. I'm going to take this one step further and refer to it as there is a big difference between risk tolerance and risk capacity. Now, understanding how risk and reward is critical to making sound investment decisions that are properly aligned with your goals. However, investors often take on too much or too little risk, both of which can undermine even the best of intentions or the best strategy. Think of it this way. Tolerance is what you can actually handle. And appetite is what you want to handle. To achieve the risk-reward balance that's right for you, you need to begin with these 3 steps. First, be honest about how much risk you're willing to take on. If you don't know how much or you can't stomach a 10% or 20% market drop at any given time, don't allocate assets to those investments that may have the potential to drop 30 or 40% or more. Diversify your portfolio across multiple asset classes and investment types that help manage risks. This increases the potential that when one investment or asset class is doing poorly, others may be doing well, helping to offset short-term losses in portfolio values. I like to think of it this way. It's like having a team of horses pull a wagon. Don't mean to date myself, but as long as the wagon keeps moving forward, you need to understand that there are different periods of time that a different horse is going to be carrying the bigger brunt and weight of the wagon. Diversification helps, not ensures or guarantees, but helps to make sure that your wagon has an opportunity to keep moving in the right direction. Number 3, as far as knowing your tolerance, make investment decisions that are based on your long-term goals, not short-term market movements. Emotional decision-making is an investor's greatest enemy, leading many to opt out of markets at the worst possible time. If you have any questions on this, reach out to me. We have a wonderful tool that will help evaluate your risk. It's called our RTQ. We have a questionnaire we take you through. It will give you a category, but it provides us a number so that we can allocate your portfolio so you have the right balance between the various asset classes. It will help you evaluate your risk tolerance. Another number that we feel is very important alongside of that is your risk capacity. Like I said, risk tolerance is what you can stomach. Risk capacity is what you can afford. Think of it this way. we had two individuals or a couple or an individual and a partner come in, and they both have $1 million. They both go through the risk tolerance questionnaire, and they have the same risk tolerance. However, we use what we call the 4% rule. We've got a video that will explain that in more detail. But assuming they were both going to take 4% off of the portfolio. However, as you dig deeper into the process, we discover that couple A, they say we need $40,000 a year to live, to meet our expenses, to meet our needs. Couple B, or individual B, they say, well, we only need $20,000. So although they have the same risk tolerance, I hope you can see their capacity for risk is totally different. For example, at $1 million, 4%, that is the $40,000 a year. Couple A or individual A can't afford to have that portfolio decline in value, or they will be forced to consume more principal during that period of time. However, the other group, the other couple or individual, couple B, they literally could have their portfolio fall in half, $1 million falling to $500,000 at a 4% withdrawal, still be able to meet their $20,000 a year need that they've stated. Huge difference. Most advisors are going to spend time talking to you about your risk tolerance. We want to do that, but feel it's equally important that you clearly understand what is your risk capacity. If you have more questions on that, just type it in the chat or send me an email, and we'll get together and help you identify what is your risk tolerance. Tip number 10, don't finance anything that doesn't appreciate. Kind of a sneaky but good tip to follow. Managing debt is critical to pursuing your long-term financial goals. When managed properly, it can actually save you money by increasing your credit score and help you identify or qualify for lower interest rates on car loans or mortgages or lines of credit. When managed poorly, however, it can not only damage your credit score, but it will often cause you or result in higher interest rates on those credit cards and loans. So whenever possible, follow these little bullet points or these little tips. Pay off credit card and other revolving credit debt each and every month. Refrain from opening too many credit cards or lines of credit, such as multiple department credit cards, multiple department credit cards, or take on too much available credit, because that can also lower your credit score. Check your credit reports at least annually and make sure that you correct any errors. Pay for big ticket items like cars or with cash, or take advantage of zero interest loans. Another great item is buy that $20,000 car versus the $30,000 car and invest the difference. Remember the rule of 72? Take that extra $10,000 and that has the opportunity to double every 10 years, provided you could get 7.2% for that period of time, if you invested it instead of being spent on an asset that depreciates and loses value over time. That is a guarantee. It will decline over time. So finance only things that will appreciate, not things that will depreciate. Put 20% down on your home. Another great tip, to eliminate paying for private mortgage insurance, or what we refer to as PMI, and reduce the amount of principal subject to additional finance charges. Tip number 11, we're winding down, but tip number 11 is also important. Automate, automate, automate. Today's savers and investors have an opportunity that generations in the past, they never had it. And that's the ability to automate both savings behaviors and decision making. By automating contributions and savings to retirement plans, savings accounts, or other investment vehicles, you take the decision making out of the savings equation. Gone is the temptation to say, well, I'm going to defer it till this month, and I'll make sure I catch it up next month. By putting in a regular amount of money over time, you will actually have the ability to potentially lower risk. Another great video in one of our vignettes. Consider taking advantage of as many opportunities as you can to save and or invest automatically. Take advantage of automatic contributions and auto enrollment or auto deferral increase options that are offered in your employer's retirement plan. Another great item, fund your IRA through periodic or monthly or even quarterly contributions. That just makes sense. I'm in the business and supposed to know better, but I tell you what, coming up with $6,000 on April 15th or $7,000 if you're over 50, don't mean to date myself, but if you got to come up with that at the same time you may owe taxes, which is a whole nother side workshop you need to watch. But coming up with that $6,000 on April 15th is a little bit more difficult than putting away a set amount of dollars every month. Still the same amount of dollars, but it's just spreading your cash flow, and it makes it a little bit easier to do. If you're saving for a specific goal, create a separate savings account and then make automatic contributions to that savings account, and then break out that savings account with where those dollars, what they're being committed for. Automating savings and debt reduction is like kind of strength training for your money. If you automate your big financial goals and only spend what remains in your checking account each month, you will start building wealth. The more you do so, the stronger, the more fit, and your financial game plan becomes. Tip number 12, adopt a positive attitude about money. Despite time-saving solutions like automated savings, online budgeting apps, and account aggregating software, it's no secret that many people approach financial management with a healthy dose of apprehension. It becomes a little daunting and a little overwhelming. That's why it's important to remember that money creates freedom. It doesn't restrict it. Pursuing financial independence requires embracing financial management, which includes becoming familiar with basic financial terms and principles. And it isn't as complicated as many people think, especially if you're working with a financial professional. As wealth advisors, we try to focus on ways to show you how your money can be used for a purposeful tool to help you pursue your goals and your passions in life. It can also help you understand the many ways that your income and savings can create opportunities for moving you closer to those goals. Take the time to educate yourself on financial concepts. I'm glad you're participating today, but this is just the launch pad. The financial markets and individual investments are important, and there's some great resources to help you gain a better understanding of those products and services. Help develop a budget and help you with a spending plan. Those are other things that advisors and wealth advisors can assist you with. They'll also help you put a comprehensive plan in place, aligned with your goals or inspired by your goals and your passions, to help you overcome any obstacles and challenges that may come along the way. Monitor your progress along your path. That's a great thing that an advisor does, or your coach or your financial advocate. And then they're going to recommend any needed changements or adjustments that you might want to consider along the way. We're here to answer any questions that you may have and help you focus on your concerns. Again, like I said, currently in this format for confidentiality and regulatory compliance, we're not able to address them live, but we want to make sure that your questions and your specific questions and concerns do get answered as quickly as possible. So you can either go to the contact us at our website, which is www.pinnaclewealth.com. You can also email your questions to info, again, N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, O, at pinnaclewealth.com. Or call our office directly at 605-271-6023. So if you need it, or you're outside of our trading area, you can also call us and reach us toll-free at 866-575-2500. We're here to help. We are your financial coach, your financial advocate, and your accountability partner. If you enjoyed this format, we really would like it and help us help you and others. Feel free to send it or share it or pass it along to those that are important to you, that you believe might find this information of value. Again, these are just the fundamentals and back to the basics. We have some great additional workshops that we're going to be sending, and it's important to have a proactive game plan for your finances and your life. Design your plan, like I said, inspired by your core values, your passions, and purpose. And remember, it's not what you make, but what you do with what you make that often makes the difference. Have a plan with a coach and an accountability partner. They can help you raise your financial confidence so you can enjoy life. If you'd like to subscribe or send us an email that say, let me know whenever you're going to release a new workshop, send us an email at info@pinnaclewealth.com, or you can call and just talk to Miriam at our office and tell her you'd like to register or be on a list so that we can send you invitations to future topics. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you soon.